Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Kevin is an award-winning writer-director who is noted regional, locally, across the Caribbean and internationally. He's also the president of the Jamaica Animation Nations Network. I get that right?
You got that right.
Because he's also an animator. And you also served on the board of Jamaica Film and Television Association a couple years ago.
Yes, I did.
And this you probably didn't know about Kevin, guys.
What's
He's
that?
also a fight coordinator.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's interesting. We'll probably get a little bit into that.
All right,
We can talk more about the writing thing, but you know, we'll touch that. We definitely, and maybe you can show us a sequence or three.
Oh, all right.
Kick down somebody.
Who's gonna be my? Who gonna be my
Remember
crash
that
test
old
dummy?
Japanese movie there?
Oh yeah, man. You killed my father.
Exactly. So Kevin, tell us exactly what your role as what we call screenwriter entails.
Oh boy. All right. So as a screenwriter, we are responsible for writing a story down on paper or in software, but that includes a whole lot because stories, everybody knows about the 3-act structure, which most people refer to it as the beginning, middle, and end, and every story has a beginning, middle, and end. But one of the things people forget is that it's characters that carry us along that journey. So we are kind of semi-psychologists because not only are we developing these characters, but we need to really understand these characters and understand their psychology, what makes them tick, what makes them make the decisions they make. And in many cases, you have to do a lot of research. You hear the term, write what you know. And a lot of people, they interpret that to mean, okay, write something that you have experience in or something you've already experienced, which is true. But if you don't know much about it, you have to do a lot of research. It shows in your writing when something is not researched well.
And we didn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Because the people who do know will go, that no go so. That no go so. It's when the people who know read it and go, oh yeah man, this is authentic, that okay, yeah man, I did my research well.
I really, really love that word, authentic. And I love your perspective on writers, or at least screenwriters, being semi-psychologists. I've never thought about it that way, because we really do have to understand why these people do the things they do.
Yep.
And we have to create circumstances for them to do certain things. And so, yeah, thanks for that.
Definitely.
I've never looked at it that way.
Oh,
Awesome.
Definitely.
All right, so that is a little bit into what Kevin does as a screenwriter. Now we're gonna hop into our second segment of the show for a little bit of fun and games. Ready?
Fun and games. All right.
Okay. I'm calling this game Pick a Shot. I'm going to give you 4 options of shot types, and you're going to choose a shot, and each shot comes with a question.
Okay.
And we kind of just go through probably 3 or 4 or 10. I don't know.
10.
I
All
joke.
right.
I joke. We're not going to get to 10. All right. So the options are close up,
Okay.
medium shot, wide angle, or Dutch. Which do you want to do first?
Let's go crazy and go Dutch first.
Oh, I like it. So we're living in an environment now where AI proliferates, right? So AI doing everything, and there's this constant conversation happening about the place of AI in art.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
As a screenwriter, what is your take on the role that AI is now playing and will play in the not so distant future in writing for films, in telling stories, etc., etc.?
Very interesting question. So I was having this discussion with a writer just the other night. He's vehemently against AI, but he has to write a story about AI. And I said to him, you're going to have to delve into it and actually experience it for yourself, because he keeps hitting a writer's block. And like, you're hitting the writer's block because you have no idea how the AI works. And pretty much, demonstrating some things to him. But let's get to the chase. So right now, a lot of people look at AI and the first thing they think is, oh man, I'm going to lose my work. AI can write scripts and all kind of things. And it is definitely a scary prospect, because as writers, we are pulling this stuff out of our imagination and putting it on paper. If you just type a sentence and it's spitting out a whole script, like, where's my place in the world? Right? That's a big, big deal. But the thing that I've been noticing is that that's not necessarily the space to worry. Why? Because we spoke about authenticity.
Yes.
Authenticity is something that really and truly comes from the human experience. Everybody's situation is going to be different. Everybody's like, every single person in this, however many billion people in the world, experience is unique, right? So AI can create something that seems unique, but it won't be authentic, right? Now, how I see it, AI is going to help a lot of people because at the end of the day, people need more content. That's one thing. And they're going to need writers to be generating this content very quickly. So I see them still hiring writers to write scripts, but they're going to expect that the writers are going to use AI to assist them because they're going to need to get through more scripts faster. The other thing, but this is where we need to worry, and not really worry, but we need to be aware of. They are going to, if not already using AI to evaluate your scripts.
That is true.
Because I would say each company that has to evaluate scripts gets tons of scripts every single week, every single month, hundreds of scripts. And they have interns reading these scripts. And these interns have to sit down, read through the script, try to figure out, is this script a good fit for our network? Is this script a good story? Oh, I've read 10 scripts about a little boy and his dog this week. I can't read anymore. And hence what they do is they end up reading the first 10 pages. And your script gets booted if in the first 10 pages it don't interest them. Even if the other 90 pages is amazing, right? But no, they're going to just use AI to go through and go, does the script meet our criteria? And then when it passes that stage, then it goes up the ladder. We have to worry about that because now we have to change the way we write to ensure that, boy, we need to make sure I match the AI algorithm to make sure I get into whatever. So now you're going to have to run your script through AI to figure out if it meets Hallmark's criteria or HBO's criteria. So we as writers have a little bit more to worry about, but hopefully if we use it right, it will work in our favor and not to our detriment.
Against us.
But it's yet to be seen. So
What I'm gathering from, especially from that last point, is that because right now there is a hullabaloo about, when it comes to structure, about how formulaic it is.
Yeah.
But what you're saying right now is that because we're getting to the point where AI is going to be vetting our scripts and there are going to be even more significant or particular things that AI looking for, scripts are going to become more prescriptive.
So they're going to become more prescriptive, especially for networks. But in the indie scene, everything is still unpredictable and up for grabs. The reason I say that is because in the indie scene, people don't want predictable. People want unpredictability. I remember a movie, Barbarian, that came out last year or a year before. This unexpected horror movie hit. I watched the movie and I thought, this movie, the structure is all wrong. And even the writer himself said he could not get the script greenlit because everyone said the same thing to him. The structure is all wrong. He made it anyway. He found somebody who was willing to take a bet on him. He made it anyway, and it was one of the biggest horror movies for the year. And now all of the people who told him that, this thing, it need for rewrite, they're now kicking themselves in the head like, AI would have kicked out that script. But that's why I say authenticity, you can't make up authenticity. AI can't do it.
You can't fabricate that. Thank you. Thanks for that. All right. So next question is going to be wide, medium, or close?
Medium.
And the medium question is, which Jamaican/Caribbean filmmaker, whether locally, regionally, or abroad, do you dream of working with, haven't worked with yet, and why?
That's a good question. I would say I kind of have a tie. I would say Storm Salter.
Ooh.
And or Marcia Weeks. I'll start with Storm Salter first. I'll start with Storm because his movie Better Must Come was probably one of the first movies out of Jamaica that I saw that was kind of doing things a bit different.
Right.
And then, seeing that it got onto Netflix and seeing that it got onto BBC One, I just kept wondering, how did this guy manage to do this? And I've been to lectures where he's spoken about it, and I've eventually met him through Jamaica Film and Television Association, and seeing his work, just seeing his work generally speaking, it's interesting, and his mind works very different. It's kind of very experimental, and you want to learn a little bit more about that, or how he does things.
I remember seeing, as you talk about his work being experimental, also love the work on that film, but there's this music video that he did that we saw a couple months ago at the JAFTA Mixer, which was very experimental in nature. So Storm, if you're listening, Kevin would really love to work with you, okay? Because he thinks you're awesome. Tell us about Weeks.
All right, so Weeks.
Sorry.
Yes, Marcia. So Marcia, she kind of, in my opinion, pioneering. She was one of the first people, if not the first, I'm not sure, to make a movie out of Barbados. She's Jamaican, but she lives in Barbados, and she made a movie, I think it's called Chrissy. And interestingly enough, one of my very, very good friends, cinematographer who I work with a lot, Wentworth Kelly, actually filmed one of her films. He went to Barbados and actually shot it. So that interests me because she's such a pioneer. She's been releasing movie after movie. The last movie she did was Joseph, which was a collaboration between Barbados, Jamaica, and Ghana. Ooh. And, I love seeing when films are collaborative across the region and even connecting with Africa. It expands the story, for one, and collaboration doesn't need to happen in the Caribbean,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I'd love to hear how she was able to kind of pull that off.
Yeah, that is the
thing. She made those connections across the borders.
Yeah, man, that's what I admire, how she's able to do that.
So, you have two more questions. Your close-up or your wide?
Close-up or wide? Let's go wide.
Let's go wide. All right. This one is easy. What advice would you give to, or what direction or directive would you give to somebody, a young filmmaker? I want to say up and coming, but the industry is so young. All of us are up and coming, right? But a young person aspiring to go into the industry, what advice would you give them on how to break into the industry? How to break in? Yeah.
Okay, how to break into the industry. I would say use all the tools that are available to you. Right now you'll hear people say, oh, there's YouTube and there's this and that, it's not just words. YouTube, TikTok, especially TikTok right now, is a good space to get known. And evidence of this, there are a lot of social media influencers who are getting a big break because they've been putting themselves out there. And so I would say to anybody who, wants to get into filmmaking, whatever role you want to get into filmmaking, start there so that people can know who you are. Because one of the first things people ask you is, what have you done? Can I see what you have done? And even if you have to shoot it with an iPhone, shoot it with an iPhone. But other than that, the route I took, which I would advise anybody to take, I went out just searching, trying to find who's in this film industry, where are they. The great thing is that it's so much easier now because you have Jamaica Film and Television Association, you have Women in Film and Television Jamaica, so it's way easier now.
And you have Jamaica Animation Nation Network. And you have
Jamaica Animation Nation Network for you guys who are animators.
Is that right?
And the great thing about it is, well, let me not say the great thing, let me tell you guys, volunteer. Right? Volunteerism is how I got in. I volunteered as a PA on Sanjay's music video many years ago. I volunteered on Holy Pada music videos. And just volunteering, what ends up happening is people get to know you. And then eventually, if they like your work ethic, they hire you. And my first big paid job was on America's Next Top Model, Cycle 19, when it was here in Jamaica, just because I was volunteering. So, yeah, all I know they don't like free work. I don't know complaints and I can't find no work. That's why when you need for volunteer, do little free work so people can know you and you get the experience. Yeah, simple.
We all have to pay our dues. So volunteer, get yourselves attached to associations like JAFTA and WIFT-JA and JAN, and look out for all of the film development initiatives or even the mixers where you get to meet people. Because JAFTA is doing a lot of, well, they've been doing a lot of mixers and you get to meet a lot of people within the industry space. So awesome.
Right.
And we're going to go to your close-up question now, which is,
what's the close-up?
what is your proudest work and why?
What is my proudest work?
Yeah.
Boy, I seem to choose between my children.
Yes.
That one hard. All right. I'm going to go with, and let me make this clear. My proudest work is yet to be made. I feel like once you finish one piece of work, your proudest work is still coming down the line.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, if you've made your proudest work already, then you might as well just quit, right? But I will say my first real production, which was Heart Shaped Box. Reason being is that it opened a lot of doors for me, won a lot of awards because of that film. And even to this day, even though that film was way back in, 9-10 years ago or whatever, people still remember me for it. And even the actors will say, oh, people still say, oh, I saw you in that film. So that I would say is my proudest work. And it was proud because I was taking a leap. I did afraid to shoot that film. I was just like, do I know what I'm doing? Is this gonna come out good? I don't know if I should show anybody this film. And yeah, it turned out decent, so yeah.
Look at that. I feel like there's a word of encouragement right in the middle of that. If you're afraid, if you're not sure, do it same way.
Just
shoot
do
it on your cell phone.
Yeah, man.
I'm advocating for the cell phone thing. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Kevin. And now for this episode's challenge. Are you ready for your challenge? I should stop singing. I should really stop singing.
I don't have to use a needle and cut out a cookie or anything.
We don't know.
Okay, just making
sure. We
sure.
don't know. Needle and, you see that in or something?
Yeah, Squid Game.
Yes, and my cousin was watching that the other day and oh gosh, yes, let's not go to Squid Games. It's something much, much easier.
Okay.
All right, so you're a writer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what your challenge is going to be. You guys ready? So we're going to give you, Kevin, 2 objects.
2 objects, okay.
Yes. And you're going to take those 2 objects and you're going to create for us a 1-minute story that you are going to write in screenwriting format.
Okay.
Yeah?
2
So we're going to have
1 minute. All right.
interior, blah, blah.
Exterior,
yeah, man, the whole shebang.
Okay.
And then we're going to reveal to you guys what he wrote.
All right. Interesting.
See you in a moment.
You saved my son's life.
I just moved in.
Oh, welcome to the neighborhood.
Please make it in 5 minutes.
I'm sorry, I need to go. It's late.
Quite interesting.
Thank you.
All right. So I've read it. I think it's interesting, and we're going to reveal it to you guys in a moment. So Kevin's objects were this bespoke candle that I made by myself. It's called Bird Bath. I'm not going to tell you my fragrances. But anyways, this candle, and you pick up, I mean, we see it already, but,
yeah.
And this shovel.
Yeah, it was very interesting writing.
And it's an interesting combination of objects. So you guys get to decide what you feel about his screenplay in a moment.
All right. Interior veranda night. Jordan 30 sits desolate on a metal framed chair. He reads a note in his hand. I longed for the days when the man I loved would come back. Instead, the man I hate remains. I've waited for you to change, but you see nothing wrong with the way you treat me. I've left this plant for you in hopes that you will develop the patience you need to understand what it means to love and care for something other than yourself. I did nothing but love you, and I can't wait around for you to love me back. This is goodbye. Jordan takes a slow, deep breath as the letter penetrates his soul. He looks over at the plant, the emptiness written on his face. Interior, exterior shed. Moments later, he reaches into the dark shed and pulls out a rusted shovel that looks like it has not been used in ages. Exterior, yard. Later, the sound of a shovel penetrates the soil. A dirt trail on the grass leads us to Jordan digging a hole. Drenched in sweat, he wipes his eyebrow. He looks in the hole longingly, lost in thought. A candle, the only source of light, barely illuminates his face. He reaches down, removes a ring from a rigor mortis finger, sticking through the soil in the hole. He drops the plant on top of it. Happy birthday, Samantha. He blows out the candle. Cut to black. The sound of dirt shoveled into a hole continues through the credits. The end.
So you guys have seen and heard Kevin's 1 minute screenplay based on one candle and one shovel. You tell me in the comments or wherever what you think about that story. But for me, it was definitely an interesting one. And we are about to wrap our show, so let's get into it, Kevin. What's next for you as writer, director, or just writer? What's next for you?
Immediately, I'm actually currently finalizing a script it's a feature film, and it's about this woman who is basically, she wants to be a fashion designer, but she's very insecure in herself as a fashion designer, and at the same time she has many different forces in her life that are, pulling her in different directions, one encouraging, one discouraging her, and in the midst of all of this, falling in love with a young man that has decided to take advantage of this what you call it, confused state she's in. I won't say any more than that, but we're hoping to produce that feature this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's immediately what I'm working on right now.
Okay, making a feature film is no easy feat.
No, it
Writing that
isn't.
screenplay is no easy
It
feat.
isn't.
But I'm confident that's gonna be amazing.
I hope so.
And any way I can help, let me know.
Sure, I will definitely reach out to you.
Let me know. One word of advice for an up-and-coming Jamaican Caribbean filmmaker.
One word of advice would be to persevere. Yeah, persevere. This is not an easy business, any at all, and you need to have the mental fortitude to manage it. You need to have the mental health to manage it. And it doesn't mean that you just have to have that strength inside you alone. You need to have a good support system. So good friends, good mentors, wherever you can find it. Sometimes it's not your parents. Hopefully it is. But if it's not, find it somewhere else. A webinar I attended with a gentleman named Mike Deesa once said he doesn't know anybody in Hollywood who has failed. And I was confused at that statement. I'm like, I don't plenty of people fail in Hollywood. And he said, anybody who's stuck it through has made it. The people who don't succeed are the people who gave up and left Hollywood, so they're no longer in Hollywood. And I went, okay, cool.
That's boss.
It is.
That's boss. And it sets
is.
up the final question so perfectly.
Okay.
So perfectly. Kevin, what is success for you as a screenwriter, director? What does that look like?
That's a tough question because I ask myself that all the while, and I feel like the answer keeps changing. So I'm continuously defining it. But right now, even though I once was hoping that success would mean that I would just make a living from filmmaking alone and not have to worry about making money elsewhere, I think success for me is being able to say I've done a number of films, a number of films that people can appreciate, films that change lives. And it doesn't have to be only in the subject matter. It could just be change lives in terms of it gave people an opportunity to themselves springboard into film. So, I would just love to know that when I die, in my eulogy or on my tombstone, they say Kevin Jackson, filmmaker.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Not husband, wife. Sorry.
Sorry, I identify as a man, so I don't think.
Wonderfully hilarious slip of the tongue. But it's really profound that you say that, and it just shows you how much your art means to you. I did say that was a final question, but I can't wrap and don't ask you this.
Like, so now I get out of here.
We're soon done, man. We're soon done, I promise. The value of local stories.
Very valuable. Very.
Don't be my students here. Just give me two word response. Come on, expound.
All right. Since I want an A instead of a C.
Thank you very much. You want an A plus.
All right. So, no, local stories are very valuable. They're very powerful. Majority, if not all of my stories are local. And I think that started from when I was in second form. I won't say what year that is. But my art teacher kept saying, your artwork is really good, but you keep on drawing, these people that you see in the comics from America and whatever. Why don't you try drawing yourself for a change? And I thought she literally meant draw me. And I was like, why would I draw me? I'm trying to create a new character. She's like, no, draw people that look like you. And I'm like, confused, because at that point in time, I had never seen black people in animation or in comics, or you barely see them as the hero. So I was just like, I don't know how to draw that. And over time, I just kept thinking about what she said, and I was like, And just looking at the fact that, hey, we have so many cool stories. Who is going to tell them if we don't tell them? Why should I kill up myself to go tell other people's story when I have plenty of people to tell those stories? So my stories just make more sense to tell, and I think everybody should. I'm not saying lock yourself into only those stories, but definitely don't push them to the side. If there is a cool story about a superhero that come from America, there's a cool story about a superhero from Jamaica.
Or even in the Caribbean.
Even in the Caribbean. And horror-wise, we should be cleaning up the market. One, because we have great horror stories, great.
Because of our folk tales.
Me tired for watch vampire, zombie, and werewolf. I'm tired of that. So more some old hag and some Duppy and some, what the other thing named Rolling Calf.
Rolling Calves.
And all kind of other things that we can control.
Nanny, I'm yet to see a nanny superhero. And I feel like that would be boss.
It would be.
That would be boss.
Yeah, there's value. And people want to see it. Trust me, people want to see it.
Wow.
Right now on Netflix, you have Champion Jamaican. It's not a Jamaican-made film, but heavily Jamaican influence. And they shot an episode here, and it's,
Yeah, my cousin actually was watching that, and he said the only reason he's watching it is because it has a very authentic portrayal of Jamaica.
Very.
So, yeah. So, guys, I don't know if you want somebody else to tell you whatever your story is as a Jamaican, Caribbean man, boy, girl, woman. Your story is valuable. Your story matters. And if we don't tell our own stories, then who is going to tell it and tell it, most importantly, authentically. Kevin, I want to thank you so much for being on our show today. It really means a lot to us. And we have a little something for you. Boom, boom. Thank you, darling. Kevin, on behalf of Alignment, thank you so much, darling. And I hope you like what's inside of it. And that is where we're going to wrap today's episode of Filmmaker Feature Fridays, where we champion the telling of authentic Jamaican, Caribbean stories that have global resonance, because our stories matter. As we go out, you want to drop your socials, anything you want to add?
Sure. So my socials, if you want to follow my film and animation, journey, there's Nivek Pro, that's Nivek Pro, that's my first name spelled backwards, and Nivek Pro Animations. And my company, social, Imagine Culture with a K. And people, please go and watch Champion on Netflix. I choreographed the fights in episode 6, and it is an amazing series, extremely authentic Jamaican accents. Beautiful.
Beautiful. And with that, thank you guys. Love you all. Mwah. Later. Boss Kevin, thank you so much, darling.
Yes. Thank you.
So appreciate
Thank you. Thank you.